Hey, small business owner, are you throwing a ton of money at boosting social media posts and paid ads, but you're not getting enough customers? Or have you hired a marketing agency or some social media guru to help you promote your business, but it just feels like a waste of time and money because you're not actually seeing the return on your investment?
If you feel frustrated because you've been trying to grow your business and you've been quote unquote doing marketing, but it doesn't seem to be listening, today we're going to explain why more marketing isn't necessarily going to save your business if these four key things haven't been addressed first. Plus, we're going to let you in on the secret of why business foundations are the most important thing for you to grow a real sustainable business over the long term. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Janae. This is the Big Bad Marketing Podcast. We are two women entrepreneurs with over a dozen years of marketing industry experience and expertise. We come from corporate worlds and we left that BS so we could build something big of our own that helps real people and real entrepreneurs, not just these big businesses with zillions of numbers. And we really want to help small business owners have a fighting chance in this world where there's huge, big corporations taking over and conglomerating all over stuff. But what we have found so quickly when working with small business owners is that they jump straight into paid ads, boosting posts, social media, trying to, market the business and put it out there, but they haven't built out the foundations first. And they try to kind of mimic what those big guys are doing. And what we are helping them do now and what we're helping you today, small business owner, do is understand what your business foundations include and how to build them out for yourself so that when you do market, it makes sense.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
So, when we talk to small business owners, it's funny how often they are like, I need to hire an agency to build me a website. I need to run paid ads. I need to get more traffic to my website. I need to get more people in the door. And it's like, yes, all of those concerns point to like, I should do more marketing. And what we have discovered over our time working with small business owners is that most of them just have these foundational questions that have not been answered. Like, who are we actually selling the things to? Where do those people hang out? Is it financially responsible to invest in marketing at this stage? Like when we are so new and young, should we be spending all of the profit that comes in back into these paid ads? And so we go through the process with our consulting clients to really dive in and figure out like, does it make sense to do marketing right now? Or should we temporarily pause the marketing efforts and focus instead on these other areas?
Oh, yeah. And I think one of the biggest issues that comes up is people get excited. They have a new business or they've been in business for a while and they're finally getting the motivation to be like, I'm going to market now. That's the solution to my problems. And we're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Before you drop, 20K on a brand new website, like, do you have your offers clear? And does somebody know what they're buying when they engage with you? Like, is it all outlined, everything, and the outcomes they're going to get from working with you? Another big one is, do your prices make sense? Not only from a buyer's perspective, like, is that in the market space where people are willing to spend that much? But also, are you able to cover your costs to deliver on that product or service at the price point that you're listing it at? Because tons of times we find people are going upside down and they haven't even realized it because their operating costs are high and the cost to make the thing or do the thing is high. And they're spending money in order for someone to buy the thing and they're not making enough back to recoup it. There's also a big one is like confusing messaging. So you're not articulating well what it is you do or how it benefits the customer. The big one here is what's in it for me, always being at the forefront of your mind. And you should almost always be answering that question in every piece of messaging you put out because people aren't interested in stuff or they're not going to put time into things where they're like, what is in this for me is not answered easily. So go ahead and answer that in your messaging. Um, and then the last one here, I think, is it's like an unclear offer. People don't know what it is that they're getting, and oftentimes we're finding that the person selling, so the business owner, is not able to easily articulate what it is that they do, who they sell to, what's in it for the customer. And so all of these things lay together, and when you can check the boxes of yes, we've got all this covered, that's when marketing starts to be applicable, like outbound marketing. But if you don't have these foundational questions answered, it's really hard to spend money on marketing and think it's going to work and think that anyone that sees it is going to actually do something.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this episode and you're like, "Oh, well, I've got my stuff together. I like definitely am in a place where I should be doing marketing." A really good litmus test and a question that we ask pretty much every client in one of our first two calls or first two times that we speak with them is, "Okay, go ahead and give us your elevator pitch."
Here's your test.
And yes, it's a test. And it's so interesting how often people will either be evasive and say, "Oh, well, I mix it up depending on who I'm talking to," and sort of don't give a clear answer, or they start to talk and it goes on and on and on, and we get to the end of it and we're like, "So what do you do?" And
Mm-hmm.
and we've got a great episode about creating a really cohesive elevator pitch. And I think if you're listening to this, pause the episode, say your elevator pitch out loud. And if you were able to clearly say, "This is who I am, this is what I do, and this is why it matters for you," then kudos. You're in a really good spot. And now you can move on to double checking that your offers are clear, that it's easy for people to buy from you, that your pricing makes sense, and that your messaging and the way that you are conveying things online and in printed materials makes sense to your customer. But always start with how you are talking about your business. And that's, I think, one of the most fun things that we do in consulting is just seeing how quickly that mindset can change for people once they really start thinking about it from the standpoint of like, "Oh, I'm selling myself here. I'm selling the thing that I do. So this just isn't about me. It's about you, the person that I'm talking to."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, a few things here. Everything you're saying is reminding me of, like, we're talking about foundations, the foundation of a home, right? And it's like marketing, when you don't have those foundations built out, is like trying to paint the walls on a house where the beams aren't even up yet, or the two by fours are exposed, right? Like, we need the drywall first, and then, I don't know very much about building, but there's other things and elements
Put
that
in a
need to be in
window.
place. Hammer a nail there. Yeah. Like, you have to have all of the things in order and in place for them to make sense. So don't, put the wallpaper up over the window and when the window's still laying on the floor, right? This is the opportunity here to really think about the base layer of your business so that everything you do marketing wise, quote unquote, whatever, like, it's making sense and it's useful and it's not a wasted effort or wasted money. And as you're saying this elevator pitch, I'm reflecting on someone who just said to us, like, wow, after this first few weeks of working together, the way that I am talking about and thinking about my business has dramatically changed. And it's amazing that mindset shift that can happen so quickly once you're like, turn on the light bulb and you're like, aha, I need to be able to tell people what they are getting out of this and who this is for, so that that conversation actually is fruitful in some way, or people can understand why they might want my services.
Yeah, and it sounds so simple as we're talking about it, right? But to stop and really deeply think about it, I think is very important, because when you consider marketing, you're essentially taking an existing message and you are now yelling it through a megaphone. So you are like, "The house is built, the door is open, come on over, we've got charcuterie, we've got wine, everything is great." So if you don't have a firm foundation on your house, you're not going to invite anybody over to visit. So that is what we help you do, is just make sure that everything is set up and you're super proud of the house you have built, and people walk in and they're like, "Yep, this makes sense. I know exactly where to go. Here's the kitchen. Here's where I'm going to sit." Like, everything is clear to me in the way that
Hmm.
you have set up this house, and it feels safe and secure, and it's going to last for a long time.
And my, this wallpaper is just beautiful. Yeah.
Lovely.
I love that analogy, Brooke. And I also would love to put you on the spot for a minute here. Can you do the thing you just asked people to do, which is give our elevator pitch?
Oh, well, I changed the elevator. No, just kidding. So, Big Bad Marketing isn't a women-run agency, and we support small business owners in figuring out their business foundations so that they can create beautiful marketing campaigns that are actually going to bring customers to their business and is going to help them make more money.
Boom. I mean, not to toot our own horn, but it's so good because you touch on who you are, but move right past that into who are you talking to? Small business owners, right? And letting whoever is listening to this know who your ideal customer is. And then the main chunk of everything you said is what's in it for them? What are they going to get out of this? Beautiful marketing campaigns and more customers and more money.
And
Like,
who doesn't want that?
and who doesn't want that? Yeah. So if you're looking for a model elevator pitch, use that. It's like a 10% about you, 20% about who you're talking to, and 70%, if I'm getting the math right here, on what is in it for them and what is the outcome.
Yeah.
Um,
And what we
and
do sometimes too, just to one more riff on elevator pitch, is try inserting different phrases because you'll know when you start to hit on things that are really connecting with people. So if you're in a service-based business like we are, there are certain things where like, okay, you might be stuck, you might be overwhelmed, you might not know where to start, you might not have the time or the money. So as we talk to different people in different settings, especially in a networking setting where we have access to like rapid fire our pitch to a lot of people, we will slide in these different things just to try and figure out what is working well, what's resonating, what makes people's ears perk up and eyes open a little wider. So we highly encourage you to do the same if you're still testing the waters of that pitch.
love it. And if you are interested in building out the foundations of your business, in understanding how to develop an elevator pitch, in learning about who your ideal customers are in a real way so that you paint on walls and not windows and beams, right? Go ahead and sign up for our email newsletter. It's a free monthly newsletter filled with tons of insights about exactly these kinds of things so that small business owners just like you can actually build their business from the ground up and make it make sense. And you can sign up by going to www.bigbadmarketing.com/newsletter.
We hope to see you there. So, Janae, let's dive into what are the first things that we do with every consulting client that we work with?
Yeah, so I think in essence there's probably like three main questions or angles that we try to get at, which are who is your audience? What are you selling? And how are you delivering that? And these are pretty broad questions. And I think, like, on the surface, they seem like no-brainer answers. They're really simple. Like, well, I sell this to this person and this is how I give it to them. But what we try to do is really dissect each of those questions. So for your audience, we want a really granular look at who's buying this. Who are the real people? Can we give them what we call in the business is user personas? Like, can we give them names and psychographics to understand what's their pain point? Why would they need your solution? And that easily leads right into what are you selling, right? Like, because I love this analogy with the airplane, Brooke. You taught me this one where it's like you're not selling them a flight, you're selling them a luxury vacation. You're just the airline, right? You're in practical terms, like they're literally just buying a seat on your plane. But if you think about it from a marketing lens, what are you really giving to the customer? What value are you providing? And so trying to make that make sense and have the offer clear and the pricing clear so it's all succinct. And then the how of how are you delivering that? This is a big ticket one where when we get people to write down the very beginning, right? Like, how did someone even hear about you? To now you've sealed the deal, you've signed the paperwork, you've got the money in the bank, you're done, everything's good, we're closing on this project. So much comes out of like, what do we need to do? Where do we have gaps in this process, in our funnel? And that's when we can really dive in and be like, here's a foundational hole. Here's where you need more nails. Here you need new beams. Here you need a load-bearing column, right? I do know something.
Wow, look at you.
Houses. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, these three questions seem very simple on the surface, but we spend months with our clients diving into all of this. And I mean, the end-to-end operations alone can just expose such glaring gaps that's like, okay, we need to go back and revisit. We need to implement a software solution here. We need to make it even easier for customers to buy from you. And overall, everything we do is focused on the end user experience, making it easier for someone to find you, making it simpler for them to buy from you, making them a more satisfied customer when you deliver the thing that you do, and then having them help amplify your messaging and your marketing. So it really is a true end to end from the awareness marketing that pulls them in all the way through servicing them until they are then becoming a referral partner or a microphone for the work that you are doing.
A raving fan. You can't
Yes.
stop talking about how amazing you are and helping you get more customers basically for free.
Yes.
Okay, so on the high level, those are the three things we work through. And Brooke, I appreciate you so much calling out that like we can get months it takes sometimes to get the offer really clear because on the surface that sounds like go anywhere and you're like, oh, $29.99 for this thing, or it's $1,000 a month for that thing, right? Like it seems like it was so simple to just pick a number and slap it on a project and here's what you get. And at least from our experience doing that in a way that is useful and makes sense and covers the costs and is aligned with market price and what the value can bring, it's not as simple as it sounds. And so putting the real time against figuring out what the offer actually entails, specifically for service-based businesses, right? Like figuring out what are the clean lines and the boundaries, if you will, around where you start offering your service and where it ends, and what are add-ons and what's included already, and what the layers or tiers of the different packages you offer. That's not as easy as it sounds. And so, business owner, you're listening to this, I invite you right now to sit down and start mapping out what are the tiers of my offers and my services. Where does one end and the next begin? Are tier one services included in tier two plus some, or are they completely different packages targeting different demographics, different psychographics, different pain points? So yeah, big piece there.
Yeah, and something that we've been talking about a lot recently at Big Bad Marketing is fighting for simplicity. And we have actually decided to pivot away from larger tiered offerings to consolidating everything into a single offer. And it's going to make our marketing a heck of a lot easier to do that for one, but it also just brings such clarity to the thing that we do and makes it so obvious for anyone that wants to work with us. Like, hey, here's this Foundations First program. This is what Big Bad Marketing does. 6 months, we're going to help you through putting together all of these key pieces. So, business owner listening to this, as you are thinking through your offers, I think it's such a natural part of the human condition to want to add, but is there something you could take away? Can you make it less complex? Can you give fewer options? Because I'm sure everybody has heard of these studies where, this restaurant was selling 34 things on their menu and they backed it off to 7 and their average check value increased by, 25% or whatever it is. But
Except for Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, that one's the exception, or any
They're an anomaly.
any local diner.
Yes.
But we, in our human brains, cannot process a ton of complexity, and we will get overwhelmed to the point where we would rather not make a purchase than risk making the wrong purchase and having to go through that lengthy decision. Yeah. So just think about that as you're building your offers, and don't be afraid to take away and sort of do less when it comes to creating those offers. And you can always test it out and pivot, especially that's the beauty of a service-based business. And we know a ton of consultants and other folks who are constantly refining their offers. And I was doing this, but it turns out people want this. Okay, great. Pivot, do something different.
Lean into what works.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, even in saying it, I'm like, wow, that sounds kind of silly. Like it takes weeks, months to figure out what the offers are. But I would argue that it could take years as you are testing it in the market. I don't think what we're saying is don't try any of this till you write it all down and have it printed. I think what we're saying is put it in a box, see if it feels good, then start putting it out on the internet or wherever it is you offer your services and see what sticks. And ask questions to your prospects, ask questions to your existing customers, right? What would they have liked to see? What do they have that they really value? What are they not using at all? And some of that will just be revealed because they're not drawing or tapping into any of the XYZ resource that is part of the offer. But the simplicity piece, I mean, this is our business guru mentor who doesn't know it, but we talk about a lot, is Alex Hormozy. And he's the one who's constantly like, simplicity is the hardest thing to get to, because when we do this and when we try to write down what it is that we're offering, the page becomes like 100 pages. And what we want to do is get it down to one simple thing, that what's in it for me? What do you leave with? A beautiful marketing campaign that is targeted to the right people, and it's going to get you to make more money.
Yeah. And he always says, our mentor friend always says,
Alex,
one persona, one offer until you get to $1 million. Don't overcomplicate it. Just literally do this one thing, figure out how to scale it effectively, and then keep doing this one thing for years and years and years. And
yeah,
eventually
become the
you will get
master of it.
somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, offers obviously a huge thing. Pricing those offers in a way that you can stay in business is also super important. So, when you have a product-based business, it's all relatively straightforward because you have to produce the thing and then you add margins on top and yada yada, so on and so forth. It's a little less clear when you're in a service-based business. Obviously, you have your overhead, but if you're like us, most of the rest of your pricing is just pricing your time and
Vibes.
vibes, totally.
No, no.
Don't do it based on vibes. But once you have the offer really sound and you've got pricing that makes sense and enables you to work the amount of hours you want to work and make the amount of money that you want to make, that is when we can then sort of take this step into, okay, now what is that journey for your buyer? Now, what are those marketing touch points that we can reach them? And then we get into marketing. But all of this other foundational stuff has to happen before we even get there.
Yeah. Okay, so I know we're like kind of already dipping into what these items are as you build out your foundations, but Brooke, would you run us through a quick list of some of those key pieces after you've answered those essential questions? Who's your audience? What are you selling? And how do you deliver it? What are the key pieces, the foundational elements of a sound business to build that platform to jump off from when you actually go into marketing? What should you have in place before you market?
Yeah. So I feel like we've said the word offers a million times in this episode already, but you need clear offers. You
Offers.
need business math that makes sense. So prices that make sense. You need to have a clearly documented end-to-end process for how you service your customers. And that's going to include things like how you invoice them, how you get them to sign a contract, all of these little sort of administrative behind the scenes pieces that come together. And then your funnel or your buyer's journey. So the moment from where people meet you to the other touch points. Maybe they meet you on social, they join your email list, then you email them these campaigns, then they become a customer, yada, yada, so forth. And
Oh my
we've got a
God.
great
That sounds
episode,
great.
got multiple episodes on sales funnels that we can link to in this episode. And then clear user personas. Might just be one, might be two, hopefully no more than three. But these are the people that you're actually marketing your business to and should be reflective of your current customers and people who have already bought things from you. There's some element of competitive analysis here and probably backing up to your pricing. That's where it's going to become most relevant, is making sure that for your industry and the thing that you do, you're pricing on par with competitors. All of that distills
Well, and your
into,
offers fit together, right? Like
yeah,
you see that there's some overlap of what you offer and what they offer, and you're able to figure out how you're differentiated. But that's neither here nor there. Please keep going.
Yeah. And I think differentiation too kind of plays into this next one, which is your messaging and how you talk about the thing that you do. And a lesser component of that probably is branding, the
Mm-hmm.
way that you present online as either yourself or your company, the colors, the logos, the fonts, the tone of voice, the way that you talk about your services, the phrases you use, the phrases you don't use, the words that you avoid. And all of that comes together to build your brand. And then which platforms actually make sense for your business. And this one is huge. And generally, we operate from this place of everybody needs a website. We've yet to come across a business that wouldn't benefit from having a website as sort of their hub. Uh, we recommend most businesses use email. And then we generally say, if you need to be on social, if you feel like that's where your audience is, so if you speak to consumers, maybe you want to show up there, just pick one and use those three as your platform options. Obviously, as your business grows, if you say you have an educational element and you're like, well, now I need to be on YouTube because that's where I'm going to put my educational stuff. And I want to be on Instagram because of XYZ reason. As long as you're looking at it through the lens of this makes sense for my business and not, I need to show up here because of the pressure of feeling like I need to show up because other people are there, then that is a key piece of those foundations and just choosing platforms that make sense for you that you can commit to consistently showing up on.
Yeah, and the platforms one, Brooke, I feel like is beyond social media channels. And so you mentioned really importantly, like get a website and start collecting email addresses from past customers, from people who know you and like you, from networking events where you get business cards, right? Like build an email list. That's a basic here. But aside from social media platforms and channels is like maybe you need to be on radio ads. Maybe you need to be wrapped around a bus or a bus stop. Maybe you need print ads, right? There's so many. Maybe you need a TV commercial, a nationwide TV commercial. Like we don't know, but imagine like you're to bring it back to that analogy. That's like you're putting a bus ad or a TV ad and you don't even have your offers clear or your prices or a website, right? And like it sounds exaggerated, but we run into this very often with business owners who they have a couple of things in place and that's a great place to be, right? You're starting, but if you don't have all of the foundations built out, it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your money to start doing paid ads and that traditional marketing that a lot of people come to us for. Like, I need to send mailers out. Like, great, what do you sell? And they're like, I repair roofs. And we're like, okay, well, what's the package? How much? What are your costs? Are you covering your costs? Do you know who the real people that need to buy this are? And those answers are blurrier and sort of left unanswered. And it's like, well, then let's save you X $1,000s from sending out mailers until you know the answers to those things so that when we do create those mailing ads, we're targeting the right people at the right price point at the right time. And then your funnel actually funnels people to buy a thing.
Yeah. And everything we do with marketing, like we mentioned earlier in this episode, comes back to the user experience. So in the situation where you're sending a mailer, okay, what is that mailer asking them to do? What is the call to action or CTA? Are you telling them to call a phone number? Okay, who's answering that phone? What are they saying when the people call? Are you sending them to a website? Okay, what does that website say? What are you asking them to do next? And it's really this helping think through what is the logical end of this interaction? And is everything abundantly clear? And does your customer always understand the next step that you need them to take as they go down into your funnel? So before you spend a dollar on marketing, and we use paid ads as an example a lot because paid ads are often going to a page on your website. What does that page on your website say? What are you asking people to do from there? Are you just saying, hey, buy this thing? And then people aren't converting because they're like, I'm like a little unsure because I don't know
I
enough
was going to get
about
the
it
answers to
yet.
my questions here.
Exactly. They're here for answers and you're just trying to hard sell them. So sometimes there can be this kind of incongruent relationship with that. So The marketing has to make sense, and it really requires a well thought out process that, again, is built on top of these foundations.
And after you have the foundations built out and in place, and what I also want to say is like maybe we're laying it out as though you have to build the foundations before you paint the walls. That is true. But you might start to think about what color paint you want and where you're going to order the paint from before the drywall is installed, right? Before the windows are in place. And so a lot of these processes aren't happening in silos, they're happening concurrently. So while you're building out your messaging and your funnels and your end to end process, you're also thinking about your customers, what type of outbound targeted marketing is going to make sense for those people, which channels you might want to be on, and how you're going to want to speak to people on those channels. And lead generation, like that's the big one here, right? All marketing is about getting more people in the door, right? Generating leads. So everything we're doing is with a core of how does this facilitate lead generation? And it's not to say that we start and we're just like, build out your offers. Like we also are thinking about how do we create lead generation during this process so that you're not kind of sitting with your thumbs twiddling for a few months trying to think about what your offers are and you don't have anyone coming in the door. It's marketing is iteration. Marketing is layering these things together. So if you've already started painting those, beams, like can we still go in and add more beams and start fixing things and building this foundation and putting it in a better place so that you can continue to put efforts towards bringing people in the door in a successful way.
Yeah. And I think it's important too that we say, stop marketing your business temporarily. But to your point, Janae, that doesn't mean stop generating leads for your business. That doesn't mean stop talking to people that you know about the thing that you do. That doesn't mean stop attending marketing events until everything is perfect. Like you still have to run your business and live your life. And we do want to help you find ways to drum up leads as we work through some of these more foundational pieces. So we're not saying stop doing business. We're saying stop dumping money into marketing that isn't working. And we help you assess out of your marketing efforts what is giving us a good return on investment, what is not giving us a good return on investment. If we're doing 5 things that we're paying for marketing, because we're having somebody write our social media posts and we're having somebody run paid ads and we're doing print marketing campaigns, like where are your leads coming from? And if you're like, I get 50 leads a month through paid advertising and 10 of them convert and my ROI is insane, we're not telling you to stop doing that then,
Don't
right?
stop.
We're just saying, hey, as long as you know that and you're confident in that, amazing, keep rolling with it. But if it's not offering you a return and you feel like you were just dumping money into the dark and you're never seeing anything back from it, that is where we believe you have room to take a pause.
Sure. And there's something big to be said here for using paid ads and boosting posts as a crutch. And I think that's what we see often is people don't have the foundations built out. They tap into paid ads, they put a big spend on it, and like paid ads, I want to say like a blanket statement that's sort of questionable, but like paid ads work, right? Like you are paying to get your image, your whatever you built in front of eyeballs. Like there is going to be some amount of that helps you create conversions and get more customers. Yes. But if you're just spending to get people to see your stuff and you don't actually have a way to generate leads that does not require leaning on paid ads and is more about lead generation, not only in an organic way, but in a consistent way so that people are the thing you're doing is getting out there and you're building brand awareness and all of your own actions amplify themselves so that eventually you could move away from paid ads. Like paid ads is part of a strategy, yes. But if that's the only thing you're doing, right, it's probably time to revisit, reassess exactly as you're saying, Brooke, check the numbers, make sure it's all working in a cohesive way with these foundations in place.
Boom. Nailed it. So if you are interested in getting some support with your marketing foundations, head to bigbadmarketing.com. We got some good stuff there for you, and we'll sort of share
Free stuff.
our mindset. Yeah, we've got great free stuff too. We've got a really wonderful blog. We'll link to a lot of the resources in this episode. And hopefully, this serves as a really good overview to kind of just help you review and reflect. And if you feel like every month you are just kind of barely making it with your small business and you're feeling financially strapped and like, I'm dumping money into marketing, but why am I not profiting? Then there might be something under the surface that needs a closer look.
Oh yeah, stay tuned. And in our next analogy, we can talk about what happens when you look under the hood of a car, and you can learn all about our expertise about mechanics. There's a
Wow.
tire in this engine.
That feels bad.
Yeah, it's vibes based. Engines are totally vibes based.
I hope not the one in my car.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, I want to say something here of like you can Google how to fix this, and you're going to get a ton of generic advice, or you're going to get a ton of ideas, different systems to employ, courses you can buy. Um, these are the best types of paid ads to use. This is the best platform to use, and tons of marketing and paid ad and all kinds of agencies who are willing to take your money and they will deliver on what they say, which is being like, we'll put paid ads out for you. We'll do email marketing for you. Like, we'll do it. Yes. We'll teach you how to make six figures in 6 minutes. Yes. But all of the marketing in the world, all of the tools in the world are like slapping a band-aid on top of something on a broken bone. It's not going to fix it. And so the invitation here is, even if you're not trying to work with us, like it's to figure out these essential questions and build the base of your marketing so that when you do approach a marketing agency, you're like, here's who I'm talking to. Here's what exactly what I'm selling them, and here's where I want to reach them. And then you're
Now
ready to
help
go.
me amplify that
Yes,
message.
now help me get the message out. And I know I said this in the beginning, but it's like so many small businesses see big businesses market themselves like on a commercial and in magazines and like big, big advertisements. And they're like, this is what I need. This is what I need to do too. And we gotta crawl before we can walk and walk before we can run. And like, you'll get there, but you got to build the foundations. Those big businesses didn't start by being like, let's make a magazine and a national TV ad, right? Like they also started as a regular business and built their way up.
Yeah. And that's just making me reflect on the number of home services businesses specifically that
Ooh.
get bamboozled by these print advertising. It's like these really small flip book kind of things almost. And I've had at least 3 to 4 businesses tell me in the last 6 months that they bought an ad in this like golf course flip book
Oh, yes,
thing
I remember
and they
that.
and they have no clue where it went, who it was distributed to. They have no clue if anybody ever even saw it. So
Yeah.
there are predatory companies out
Oh,
there who
wow.
are making big promises and not delivering on it. So just
I
market
know
with caution.
I know we're wrapping up here, but I'm like, we need to talk about misaligned marketing and what you're saying. I'm thinking about specifically like a food service company, small business that we had a conversation with who told us about that golf thing. And they're like, look at my ad in this golf thing. And we're like, I mean, that's a pretty ad, but also like, who is the audience of this golf magazine, right? Like, are these actually your people? And did this reach them in a time where it made sense? And was the offer that you put in there even relevant to them? And the answer to all of those things was like, no.
Yeah. And I think we've got an entire episode worth of just crazy marketing that we have seen people pay for, like sometimes pay a lot of money for, that we're like, wait, you paid for that? You paid for that?
We'll take your money. No.
Right,
Actually,
right.
that's, I think, what we pride ourselves on is like telling people, actually, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Glad you're looking for that. We can point you in a positive direction and give you a recommendation that maybe that's not really what you need. But yeah, we're not in the business of just, sure, we'll put your ad in this golf magazine. Great idea.
Why not?
And maybe
You
if you
want to,
sell golf shoes or golf lessons, sure, but
yeah. I'm also just thinking of other, like, I want to do an episode on like just funny, terrible ways to advertise your business, like a hot air balloon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What's
Just like,
that? That airplanes that drag signs
oh yeah. Like at the
where,
beach.
yes. What is that about? Because I'm like,
I don't know.
one that I've seen that wasn't, it's not effective because I didn't convert, but it's like advertising an event that night, like DJ so and so is playing at this club. I live in Miami, so that's a
Yeah.
thing that happens a lot. And it didn't convert because I don't go to DJ sets. But I'm like, oh, I can see that you're promoting a thing that's happening today to a big group of people who are on the beach partying, and it's a party like event. Like that sort of makes sense. And then if they want more info, they can Google it, right? But
Yeah.
sometimes I'm just like, I'm not going to this restaurant right now. Why are you advertising that in the sky?
Do you think the bouncer at that club is then instructed to be like, are you here because of our Sky advertising? And they're tracking attribution
Oh,
of people
yeah, the
as they go
attribution,
into the
yeah. So they
club?
can be like, it worked, it didn't
Definitely.
work. I saw this on an airplane.
Yeah.
Do you think people even remember that they saw it on an airplane and that's why they wound up going?
No, not if they're drinking on the beach.
Do you think that they go? This is a big question. Is that an effective form of marketing?
Listener, have you ever called a service or attended an event because you saw it advertised in the sky? Now we really need to know because neither of us have ever converted from that. So if you have, will you please drop a comment on this episode
Let's
and
validate
tell
it.
us the circumstances in which you actually responded to a sky-based advertising campaign?
Yeah.
I'd love to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. Small business owner. There's no point in telling the world about all the amazing things you do if your foundations are broken and you can't even deliver on them. So do yourself a favor. Assess your marketing efforts. Pause them if you need to. Fix the beams in this broken house, and then paint the walls, and then turn on the funnel and the flow of customers coming in so that your ad spend, your efforts in marketing actually get you an ROI and make sense.
Yeah. Take the time to actually think of a really incredible message, then go grab your megaphone and yell it.
Then put it in the sky.
Yes.
Drag it behind an airplane. And while you're at it, go ahead and like and subscribe to this podcast. And you will never miss a single moment of the Big Bad Marketing Podcast, golden offers and advice that we have for you.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for listening.